Good morning, everybody. Ben Jones, Badger from Bronson Coffee Roasters, coming at you Saturday morning, 9 a.m., 28th of March, and today we'll be looking at the Syphon brewer. This is pretty fun. We at the house we call it science coffee. It's really fun when you have folks over and you want to entertain, do a little more flashy, fancy coffee brewing. It's a little more labor intensive, but it's quite fun and enjoyable. This brewer was developed roughly in the 1830s. It's one of the older technologically based brewers, and it consists of essentially three parts. I'll go ahead and take this apart. You get a lot of parts with it, but the key piece is this is the brew chamber. The part that sits on top. We'll be brewing our coffee in there. We have our filter. This is a cotton cloth that's been tied around a metal frame attached to a spring chain with a hook on the end. If we lower through there, it'll come through the tube, and then I can use the pull cord to extend the spring and hook our filter in place. Our filter is now attached, sealed on the bottom of our brew chamber. Set that there. Now this is our decanter. This is our service vessel. It's also where we're going to initially put our water. The water will go right down here on the bottom. This one is the kind of the classic showpiece. It's the Yama glass Syphon coffee brewer. I feel like it's the prettier one. There are other models. Most use this cloth filter. Some come with just a glass filter rod. That's kind of fun, kind of neat. We're just going to play with this one today. Another piece that we have is a little burner. This little butane burner, and that'll go down here for us to heat our water, and we'll look at that in just a moment. All right. So the principle behind the Syphon brewer, we're going to put our hot water down below, and then this rubber stopper is loose right now, but when I seal it, that'll seal the bottom chamber. And as the water down here heats, the water molecules get active and they bounce all over, and it creates pressure, and that pressure is coming upward, pushes off the top of the bulb, and the only escape that the pressure has is to push back down and then vent up through our tube, and then it'll suspend in the upper brew chamber. We're going to use that to our advantage in just a moment. All right, I've prepared ahead of time 19 grams of coffee. I'm brewing the Badger from Bronson Papua New Guinea Nori Kori. And now I want to add my water. If I'm using 19 grams coffee, I'm going to go and put in 323 grams of water. Even though the Syphon brewer comes with a separate heat source, it's not very efficient to use that little butane burner to heat up this much water. So we're going to use some preheated water. I brought this water in the kettle up to 210 degrees, 218, There we go, 224.3. That is close enough for grams of water. All right, bring that forward. I'm just going to let this double as my timer. All right, just make sure everybody can see this all right. So, we have hot water, 323 grams. We have brew chamber. I'm going to set that in there, and I'm going to give it a little, make sure it's sealed. All right, now here's the fun part. This is what the kids all like. We'll go and crank up our buddy burner. Oh, no, 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 you're not going to do this to me right now. There it is. All right, we have flame. I knew that would happen. Murphy's Law. All right, I'm going to put our burner underneath there and just let it keep on heating. Now, pay attention to the upper chamber as that little burner heats. The air pressure in the lower chamber is pushing all that water upward. Now I'm going to go ahead and lower my temperature. I want to keep it just to the point where I can maintain the water in the top, but not, I don't want to heat it far beyond boil. Excellent. Just giving my, I don't think the microphone will pick it up, but it's making this little burble noise. All right, here's the fun part. I have my 19 grams Papua New Guinea nori kori. I'm going to start my timer, and we're just going to add that to the top. And then using a plastic or wooden or bamboo stirring stick, it's going to give that some agitation. I'm just going to give it just a splash more up here, just for the becauses. There we go. All right. The reason we use a non-metal spoon is we just don't want to break. I always recommend, if you're stirring inside of a glass container, whether it be a French press or your Syphon brewer, let's go ahead and use something that's a little bit softer and more gentle. It's one of those really easy things to do. So cool. We're just maintaining enough heat in our lower chamber to maintain our coffee up into the brew chamber. We're going to let it steep for about another 20 seconds. I'm going to give it a little stir. How cool is that, huh? All right, so we're just about a minute and a half into this. I'm going to strike the scale timer out of the way, and I'm just going to remove the heat. Now watch what happens as that water in the lower chamber cools. How fun is that? Some refer to these as a vacuum pot. Probably is a more accurate description. There, a little bubble through at the end. Siphon comes from the Greek word that means pipe or tube. So I guess there is a tube in there that we're brewing with. We create a vacuum. Little fun fact, Siphon is not actually the action of pulling another. Siphon is more just the kind of the tools used to do it. We don't quite understand the action that causes a true siphon to work. This makes sense. It's the pressure pushing down and then forcing the water up. But if you're siphoning liquid from one container to another, that's a bit of a mystery. All right. At this point, we have our coffee down below and our brew chamber up top. I'm just going to a little snug, there we go, a little twist and a lift. This comes out and that acts as our stand. Let's put that to the side. I don't siphon a lot, and if you all want really deep info on the Syphon brewer, the Coffee Geek has one of the world's largest collections and best libraries on Syphon brewing. He has a website, most likely just coffeegeek.com. Old friend of Batdorf from Bronson. He's got some really fantastic, in-depth information about that, and really, really fun, really great. All right, so now we have a brewer, and I like the serving vessel on that. I think that's pretty fun. It's a real pretty, neat way to brew coffee. We'll just take that. And we'll give it a decant. That siphoning, that vacuum action draws an awful lot of the water through there, so we get very dry grounds. We now have just a nice cup of coffee. While, on a practical note, while this is still nice and fresh and it hasn't started to dry yet, I want to add some water and give that a rinse, just to help prevent those coffee oils from building up in there. Joshua did a really fantastic video on cleaning your equipment. Coffee equipment is often overlooked. Brewers don't always get the love they need. Got to keep things clean. After the video's done, I'll go and clean my filter off out of here. If you're using a siphon filter, any type of cloth filtration, you want to try to rinse that out as soon as possible. Best practice would be then to freeze or refrigerate your filter to prevent bacteria growth. Give it a good wash in some, you can toss it in the laundry if you need to. You can wash it by hand, which I recommend for these. Delicious. All right. That is the Syphon brewer. It's a fun way to do coffee. Entertaining. Definitely, Dan, pull yours out